सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। So in Drg Drashya Viveka, last time we did verse number 19, 20 and 21, and the discussion that is going on is about what is Brahman and what is Jagat. The text beautifully showed us that in anything that you come across, in any object in this creation, you can very well understand what is Brahman, which means what is the reality, what is the truth, and which part constitutes the Jagat, which is Mithya, which is apparent. For that, in verse number 20, the text said, let us repeat that verse. Asti bhati priyam rupam nama chetyam shapanchakam adhyatrayam brahma rupam jagad rupam tatodvayam. So this we have already done. We'll just recap it quickly. The text said that in any object has 5 parts. Not parts, but 5 aspects. Which are they? Then he said, Asti, Asti, Bhati, Asti, Bhati, Priyam, Rupam, Nama. Any object, let us take this pen. This also has 5 aspects. Which are they? First is Asti. Asti means it exists. The pen is. The pen shines, which means Bhati. Priyam, pen is dear. Pen is useful, and that is why it is dear to me. So it is pleasing. And it has a form. Pen has this form, and it has a name called pen. So take any object for that matter. Say, take this bookmark. Bookmark also shines, and bookmark is also pleasing, plus it has this form and there is a name to it. It is a bookmark which has the picture of Ganesha in it. In this manner, each and every object, anything in this creation for that matter, has this 5 aspects. Out of this 5, the first 3, Adhyatma, Brahma Rupam, the first 3 constitutes Brahman. Brahman means the reality, which we have already seen. And Jagat Rupam Tatodvayam. Then Jagat Rupam. What is Jagat in this? What is the creation aspect in this? Is Tadvayam, the later 2, which are they? No, form and name. Form pen and name pen. This name and form go together. So in this, the creation aspect is name and form, and the basis or the substratum on which this pen is projected is Brahman. So the author showed us how each and everything in this creation has this 5. Out of this 5, the first 3 is Brahman, and the later 2 is Jagat. And then when we look at the creation, everywhere we will find that Asti Bhati Priyam is the common denominator, and each and everything will have different name and different form. No two things in this creation are totally similar. Even our two eyes are not the same, our earlobes are not the same, our fingers are not the same. So each and everything in this creation is different, and it has a different name. So name and form are different everywhere. But what is the common thing in them? The common thing in them is Asti Bhati Priyam. Asti means existence, shines, Bhati means shines, and Priyam means it is dear. So this part is creation. So wherever we look, we will be able to grasp or let us say understand what the reality is, which part is real and which part is false, which part is Satyam and which part is Mithya. What is Satyam? Asti Bhati Priyam is Satyam. In that there is no change. A thing is, it shines and it is dear. There is no change in that. It ever remains the same. Plus, it is non-negatable. You cannot negate it. Say, when I am looking at this pen, now I am looking at this pen. So that time also, Asti Bhati Priyam is there, and this pen has this particular name and form. Then I go to this pen. Then I go to, let us say, this pen. Now this pen, this marker pen, there also Asti Bhati Priyam is the same, and this has a different form, different from this. It has a different color and it is a marker pen. So name and form everywhere will change. What doesn't change? So name and form keeps changing, whereas what doesn't change is Asti Bhati Priyam. It is common everywhere. So if we have to count, then how many Asti Bhati Priyam are there? Just one. That is what Chandogya Upanishad says. It says that the truth is Ekam Eva Dvitiyam. Ekam Eva Advitiyam. Ekam means one. Eva means it is indeed one. Advitiyam means without a second. And this one, Asti Bhati Priyam, as I told you last time, are not three different things. Asti is not different from Bhati, and Bhati is not different from Priyam. These three are not three attributes or three qualifications. No, they are not three qualifications, but they are the three things which are same. Asti has Bhati and Bhati has Priyam. Priyam has Bhati and Priyam has Astitva also in that. So this thing, three, is a way to describe or way to unfold what Brahman is. It is same everywhere. Names and forms change. Moment when I am looking at this pen now, and then I look at this pen, and then I look at this cover. Name and form go away from my mind. When I was in this looking at this pen, my mind was here. Then I am looking at this object, my mind is here. But so one object replaces other object. One object is replaced by another object. One person is replaced by another person. Say now I am talking to my mother. Then she goes. Then I talk to my father. Then he also goes. Then I talk to my son. Then I talk to my student. Then I talk with my servant, etc. So people keep changing. Places keep changing. Objects keep changing, situations keep changing. What doesn't change? Asti, bhati, priyam. So that is the common denominator. That is the common substratum on which these different names and forms are projected, on which these different names and forms come and go. To give you a better example, see, this thing is very subtle, that is why it may sound as similar, but every time if you ponder on this, it will give you a different insight. One has to keep on thinking on this, deliberate on this, then it will become very clear. So that is what author is going to do in verse number 22. But let us first quickly recap it, that this is the common thing. Then in verse 21, author said, Kavayavagnirjalorvishu devatiryang naradishu abhinna satchidanandaha vidyete rupanamani. He said, in the Ka means space, Vayu means air, Agni means fire, Jala means water, and Urvi means earth. These are the 5 elements, and the combination of these 5 elements is the elemental. So say this object also has 5 elements in this. Combination of 5 is here. Combination of these 5 elements is in this body also. This body has space, this body has air, this body has fire in it, and obviously water and earth. All of them are here. So the entire universe, the entire creation is nothing but elements and elementals. Bhuta, Bhautika, Panchamaha Bhuta, and combination of that is Bhautika Jagata. That means the entire creation is this. Okay. Each and everything is different, but in all of them, in all these varied objects, in all these multifarious things, abhinnaha satchidanandaha. Abhinnaha, what is non-separate? What is that common thing in them? Where do you draw a boundary in Asti Bhati Priyam? See, the boundary of this object is only this much. Then comes this object. Then comes this object. So all of them have a boundary. I can call only this object a pen because it has a certain form and a certain function. When I come to this, now new thing starts. This is another object, another form, another name. So this has a boundary, this has a boundary, and this too has a boundary. It is this form is circumscribed to this much space, whereas where can you draw a line in Asti Bhati Priyam here, Asti Bhati Priyam here, Asti Bhati Priyam here, and Asti Bhati Priyam here? How will you distinguish Asti Bhati Priyam? Here means existence, consciousness, and Priyam, pleasing. What is the boundary here? And what is can you draw a boundary in that Asti Bhati Priyam? No. Why? Why? Because it has no form, it has no name, it has no shape. This object has a shape, it has a form, it has a certain measure. But what is the measure? What is the shape? And where can you draw a boundary that Asti Bhati Priyam stops here? Does it? No, because it is same here. Plus in between also, in between these two objects also, in that which we call space, in between these two is space. Even there Asti Bhati Priyam is. So what I am trying to say is that objects Name and form of the objects are different, but in all of them, common is Satchidananda. Now here in this verse, author is given a different name, Satchidananda, Satchit Ananda. Earlier he said Asti Bhati Priyam, but it means the same. So that remains the same. Abhinnaha, whether you take a Brahmin, whether you take a Kshatriya, whether you take an American, whether you take an Englishman or an African, take anyone coming from anywhere. Their names, their forms, their language, their origin, and the place where they belong to, all of that is different. But what is the same in them? African also is, he also shines, he is also lovable. American also is, he also shines, he is also lovable. And he has a different nationality, he has a different origin, but what is same? Abhinnaha Satchidanandaha. Satchit Anand is same everywhere. And where is that? Where is that? I call it, don't think that Asti Bhati Priyam is out there, out in this object. No, it is here. I am. It is not Asti but Asmi. Asti means exist, but I exist. It is Asti Bhati Priyam here, which is here, which is there, which is everywhere. Understood? So now you can say that in me means what? In the body? In this person? No. In Asti Bhati Priyam, which is the reality here, which I call I doesn't mean this body or this personality, but I means Atma here, which is described in this verse as Asti Bhati Priyam. In that are all the objects. Or let us say, to go back to the example of ornaments and gold. All the ornaments are different. In the jeweler's shop, when you go, you find he shows you a number of ornaments. The whole shop and the windows over there are full of different ornaments. Very beautifully they are kept. Different bangles, different chains, different earrings, different studs, different bracelets, different anklets. My goodness, so many of them. All of them have a different name. All of them have different design, different forms and different names. But what is common in all of them? Gold. Where is that gold? Everywhere. For gold you cannot say that it is only in ring or only in bangle or only in a chain or only in a, there is, in Indians wear a small stud over here, nose ring. Even there, in the smallest of ornament, even there gold is. But is the gold small? That nose ring is definitely small. But this gold in that nose ring or in the big chain with the bride is wearing, what is the difference in the gold worn in a nose ring, worn here, and in the big chain, big necklace in fact? What is the difference in the gold? No difference. And when you count the ornaments, they are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a jeweler's shop, thousands of ornaments. Plus there is a basement over there and there are so many ornaments even there. So number of ornaments, the count can go to thousands. But how will you count the gold? Gold is just one. You can't even call it 1, because 1 is with reference to 2. Number 1 is with reference to number 2. But when the gold alone is, you can't even call it 1. That is why Chandogya Upanishad says it is 1 without a second. It is 1, but the count stops there, because there is no 2. It is just 1. Similarly, Asti Bhati Priyam here. Asti Bhati Priyam in sun. Asti Bhati Priyam in moon. Moon also is. Moon shines. Moon is also pleasing. Sun is. Sun shines. Sun is pleasing, and it has a forms, the round orb, plus you call it sun. Star. Clouds. So there is a distance, remember, there is a distance between this object and moon. There is distance between this object and the star. There is distance between this object and the clouds. But tell me, what is the distance between existence, consciousness and Priyam here and in the moon? What is the distance? There is Asti Bhati Priyam in moon, Asti Bhati Priyam here, Asti Bhati Priyam in sun, Asti Bhati Priyam in star. But between this object and the moon there is a distance. Between this name and form and the name and form of moon there is a distance. But think and tell me, is there a distance between consciousness, existence and pleasingness here, that is Asti Bhati Priyam, here and between the moon, and the moon? In between what is there? Nothing but Asti Bhati Priyam. And that is the same. In the ornament shop in New York, the ornaments are there, golden ornaments are there, and in the jeweler shop in Mumbai, there also there are ornaments, but the designs and the names of the ornaments may be different. But what is the difference between the gold in that shop, in New York shop and in Mumbai's shop? Gold remains the same. Understood? And it is one. Similarly, Asti Bhati Priyam is abhinnaha. It is non-separate. It is one. The basis everywhere. And upon that, names and forms are projected. Just as the dream world is projected upon the dreamer, or just as the ornaments are projected upon gold. I am going a step further. Why? Because just as we saw last time, if what you call ornament was something totally different from gold, let me just give you an example. This is a golden chain. It is not golden chain, but since I have no other example to show you, no other golden thing to show you, so I am showing you this. This chain, think in your mind that it is golden chain. If this chain was different from gold, then if I take away gold from this chain, what will remain? What will remain? What will you get if the gold is extracted from the chain? If the gold is extracted from the bangle, will the bangle remain? Will the object called bangle remain? Think and tell me. No. Why? Because it has no independent existence other than gold. So where is the ornament? If the ornament was independent, existing on its own, then it should remain even after extracting gold. Then I can say, yes, this is ornament and this is gold. Ornament is standing separate from the gold. No, you can't say this. When you take away gold, ornament has no legs to stand upon. And that is called mithya. That is called mithya. Mithya means it appears as different but is not there. Understood? So, in that sense, the author said that in this entire creation, names and forms are different, but what is common substratum is asti bhati priyam. And where is that? It is I. It is here. When I say here, understand, I am not talking about this body. I am not talking about this person, this personality, this Swamini. No. I am talking about Atma, which you cannot see, which even I cannot see, nobody can see. It is not an object of perception, just as this hand is. Hand is an object of perception, but not Atma, not asti bhati priyam. Yat chakshusha na pashyati, yena chakshumshi pashyati. Eyes cannot see it, but that because of which the eyes see is Brahman. Yad vacha anabhyuditam. Kenopanishad says, Yad vacha anabhyuditam. That which is not uttered by the speech, by this organ of speech. But yena vag abhyudyate. Yena means that by which, that because of which the speech is able to utter words. That because of which the speech is able to speak is Brahman. Similarly, when I say I means asti bhati priyam, not this body. That I is same in you, in she, in he, in that, in this, in this. So when I say I, what gets included in this? Even this object gets included, because here also asti bhati priyam is there, which is included when I say I. When I say I asti bhati priyam, what all gets included? Every form, because in all of them asti bhati priyam is. In fact, the entire creation is in me. I can say that if I clearly understand the meaning of I. If I means Atma, if I means when what I mean by I is Atma or the self or Brahman or asti bhati priyam, then I can very well say that the entire creation is in me. The entire creation is in me. Sarva bhutastham atmanam. That is what Lord Krishna says in Gita. In all the beings is Atma. And in Atma, Sarva Bhutani cha Atmani. And in Atma are all the beings. In that, what is Mithya is names and forms, and Atma is Satyam. Atma means again and again and again I am repeating, not this person, but because of which this person is able to talk, walk, think, see, that self. Understood? So that is Atma. So now the author helps us or gives us a method by which we can always be with the reality. He gives us a method by which we can get more and more deeper understanding of this asti bhati priyam, because as it has been shown in so many verses, in the past two verses, that it is everywhere. But this may be just knowledge in words. This may not have become yet my knowledge. I may not have yet clearly understood that where is this Asti Bhati Priya. That clear cut understanding may not be there, which means I still have to abide in that. It is one thing to speak, one thing to hear about this, and another is clarity on this. When I say Asti Bhati Priyam, then I should know I am that. And that knowledge should become spontaneous. It should become spontaneous. And that can happen only by practice. That can happen only by constantly seeing this. Seeing this doesn't mean that I perceive it, but in my mind I see. By the eye of the mind, I have to constantly see this truth everywhere. When I am with myself, then also I see this truth, that what is the reality here? Is this body, mind, intellect, this costume real, or is the I real? Asti Bhati Priyam is real or the costume is real? Every time I distinguish between name and form and Asti Bhati Priyam, so that I keep aside the mithya aspect, the apparent aspect, and catch hold of Asti Bhati Priyam. Means I be with the reality. Understood? But this requires constant application. This requires focus. How to do that? That is the name of the game, you know. It is one thing to speak. It is good, you know, that now we have the cursory knowledge. It is called Paroksha Jnanam. But how to make it Aparoksha? Aparoksha means my own thing. I don't have to think also. Just as today, when somebody asks my name, then without thinking, I will say Paraprajnananda, Swamini so and so. You will say I am so and so. Why? Because that has become one with us. That much, this knowledge has to become one with us. That is called spontaneity. And that cannot happen overnight. It is not a miracle. You have to work on it. You have to constantly remind yourself. Abhyasa. That is why Lord Krishna says, Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena. Abhyasa. Abhyasa means what? I should constantly be with reality. Every time when I am with myself, I keep on thinking and distinguishing, doing Viveka between what is real here and what is apparent here. Nitya Anitya Viveka I do. And when I'm outside, which means that when I'm interacting with the world, working in the world outside, there also I come across different people, different objects, different places, different situations. That time also, how to appreciate Brahman and how to keep aside what? The Jagat part, the unimportant part, that I have to learn. And that is what the author is telling us now. So what follows, is a method by which we develop the art to be with the reality. In other words, to be with myself and constantly appreciate what is Satyam and Mithya. So much so that a time comes when the world doesn't bother me. The names and forms don't bother me. Even when I'm with them, without them, or without them, I am always with myself. And for that, what is required is meditation. In other words, the author will now talk about samadhi. Samadhi means absorption of the mind. And here, author talks about 6 types of samadhi to make us understand it very clearly. So that is what is going to be the subject matter of few verses now. So please pay attention. Okay. So now we are doing verse number 22. उपेक्ष्य नाम रूपे द्वे सच्चिदानंद तत्परः समाधिं सर्वदा कुर्यात् हृदये वाथवा बहिः. See, the author gives brilliant method. So you can memorize some of these verses, so that moment you are talking with people, interacting in the world outside, going to your workplace or with yourself, just remember this verse and then keep in mind that what is Satya, what is Mithya. What I have to understand when I am doing all this, that time also how to filter the reality from the Mithya aspect. Because the thing is, the problem is reality doesn't come like this. It is not something which you can see, but it is hidden. It is in and through everything. It is right everywhere. But it comes along with the Mithya also. It comes along with apparent. Jagat and Brahman comes together. And in that, our problem is intensified by the fact that what we see is Jagat and we don't see Brahman. And still, what is real is what is not seen. Understood? What is real, what counts, what is important is not seen. And what is seen is actually Mithya, is actually apparent, actually inconsequential. Mithya means inconsequential. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't add to my life. And still, that is what I constantly see here and outside. That, makes my thing very difficult. What I see is not real, and what I don't see is real. That is why we have to learn this. And that is why it becomes very important to learn it from a teacher. That is why we have to learn the scriptures, the Shastra, at the feet of the teacher. Because these are all deep secrets. Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam Pavitramidam Uttamam. Lord Krishna says in the 9th chapter that, O Arjuna, this knowledge of the self, this knowledge of the reality is the one thing, is the deep teachings, is the real knowledge, the teaching, royal knowledge. But it is the royal secret also. It is the royal knowledge, Raja Vidya, king among all the knowledge, among all the faculties of knowledges. But it is also Raja Guhyam. Guhyam means secret, Gopaniyam, that which is secret. And let me tell you, there is no secret great as this one. Why? Because it is hidden in a place where I will never suspect. Where I will never suspect. When I am looking for happiness, when I am looking for peace, which we all do, We are constantly in quest of real happiness. In quest of happiness which doesn't cheat us, which doesn't go away, which is always with us, and we look for it in the world outside, everywhere, there, here, and then we are disappointed. You cheated me, keep on blaming everyone. You cheated me, life cheated me, God cheated me. Then I get frustrated. But where is it? Where is it? It is right here. It is right in I. I am that. Who will ever suspect? Tell me. Who will ever suspect? It is my nature. It is my Swarupa. Not away from me even for a second, millisecond. And there is no distance between me and that. No distance. It is so intimate. And yet I don't know. That is why we have to learn it. And so, we have to learn it in such a manner that we come to know it is always there. For that, what is the method? How to do? So, the author said in the verse number 22, he gave us the method. Upekshya nama rupe dve. What should you do? He says, may you ignore nama rupa. Dve means two. Because in the five aspects which are talked about, asti, bhati, priyam, rupam, don't forget this. In each and every object there are 5 aspects. Asti, bhati, priyam, rupam, nama. Now the author says what? That in this object in which there are 5 aspects, in everything there are 5 aspects, there is something to be ignored. And there is something to be focused, something which you must focus upon. What is that? He says, Upekshya nama rupe dve. May you ignore 2. Out of the 5, may you ignore 2. Ignore means don't pay attention. Don't get preoccupied with that. Don't be always, focused upon now what is the name, what is the form, how does it look, where is it, who does it belong to. Give up all this. Just ignore name and form. Use it. Definitely use it. But ignore name and form. Okay? And what should you focus upon? You have to ignore name and form. Upekshya means ignore. Be indifferent to that. Upekshya nama rupe dve, and focus upon what? Satchidananda. Satchidananda, which means asti, bhati, priyam, or sat means asti, and sat chit means bhati, means consciousness. It shines, it is. Ananda means it is pleasing. Focus upon that. Be the one who is focused upon Satchidananda. So these 3 aspects you must focus upon, and the later 2 aspects, namely name and form, better ignore. Better ignore. So the first line, the translation of the first line is Upekshya nama rupe dve Satchidananda tatparaha. May you ignore name and form, nama rupe dve, and become the one who is focused upon Satchidananda. Tatparaha. Tatparaha means all out for, or all engrossed in, or all focused upon what? Satchit Ananda. In this doesn't matter what this name and form is, but the thing is. It doesn't matter how the object is, how the object looks like, but that it is, that it shines, and that it is useful and pleasing is what counts. This is the translation of first line, and second one says Samadhim Sarvada Kuryat. What should you do? Ignore the name and form, be focused upon Satchidananda, and do this. Samadhim Sarvada Kuryat. May you be, Samadhim means Sada Kuryat. May you always be absorbed. Samadhi means absorption. May you be all engrossed. May you be always Sarvada, or at all times, at all places, always focus upon, be absorbed in what? Satchidananda. When? The author says in the second line, Samadhim Sarvada Kuryat, may you always be absorbed. Hrudaye athava, Hrudaye va athava bahihi. Hrudaye means when you are with yourself. When you are sitting with yourself and thinking, then don't think of the objects outside. But what is their content? What is the real aspect in them? Think on that lines. When you are with yourself, Hrudaye, when you are with yourself, think of that. And va, Hrudaye va means or. Va means or. Va athava bahihi, or when you are in the world outside. When you are with yourself, or when you are with others, or you are interacting in the world, functioning in the world, that time also. What should you do? When you are with yourself, you are thinking of Asti Bhate Priyam, trying to understand that. And when you are with the world, then also do what? Samadhim. Now this is very difficult. How to focus? When I am with myself, I can focus upon Asti Bhate Priyam. But how to focus when I am talking, when I am interacting with the world? Yes, that time also the author will give us a handle, will give us a key, that one corner of your mind will always be engrossed in the real and will be also functioning, will also be interacting. But when you are interacting with the world, that time also you will know that this is all mithya. This doesn't really count. This is not all. What is the truth is Atma, the self, because of which all this is. Let me give you an example. That an actor is playing the role of a beggar. An actor, say Amitabh Bachchan, he is playing the role of beggar. Now, supposing he is told about what? Upekshya nama rupe dve. May you ignore name and form, and may you focus upon your reality. So he is told, may you ignore the role and the costume that you have to wear and the role that you have to play, and may you focus upon your reality with when you are with yourself and when you are playing the role. See, Amitabh is told that when you are with yourself, remember that you are Amitabh Bachchan. And when you are playing the roles, different roles, say in one movie you are playing the role of a beggar, in another movie you are playing the role of a minister, in the third movie you are playing the role of a magician, in the fourth movie you are playing the role of a person who has lost everything, who is really his life is very tragic. You are playing such a role. That time also the actor is told what? That you ignore the costume part, the role part, and focus upon your reality. That doesn't mean that he has to stop playing the role. Even when he is playing the role of a beggar, he is told that this role part, this beggarliness part, even when you are stretching your arms before the world and asking for money, remember that it is a role. It is not real. What is real? Amitabh Bachchan is real. Understood? This is what is meant. Samadhim kuryat. Samadhi means be absorbed. That doesn't mean I have to stop playing the role. But don't take it to be real. If you take it to be real, then you will become beggar. Then beggar, the role beggar will become your reality. And you will forget that you are Amitabh Bachchan. That is exactly what is happening in our life. When we are playing different roles of father, mother, wife, husband, daughter, so many roles we play. And we take all of them as real. And all the stress is here because the role is real. So author is saying, don't do that. That will be possible only when you do samadhi. Samadhi means what? When you are with yourself, deliberate upon your reality. And when you are with the world, deliberate upon reality. See what is real and what is false. See what is nitya, what is anitya. Then you will get a hang of it. Then you will get a hang of it. So it is very important that we keep the goal of life in mind and don't get sidetracked from it when we are with ourselves or when we are with the world. Then a time will come when you do it for a length of time, do as much as it is necessary, do your abhyasa that much that a time comes when you don't have to do it anymore. Your reality will become crystal clear to you. You will abide there. Till then you have to do. And for that, the author will give us here 6 types of samadhi, means meditation. Now let me explain to you what is meditation. Now first of all, let us talk about this upeksha nama rupe, what we have to do, how we have to think. So he says the first line, upeksha nama rupe dve. This nama rupa is the jagat part. Upeksha, udasini krutya, may you be indifferent to it. Which means that it doesn't matter what it is, what a thing looks like, what its name is, all of these things are not important. When they become very important, then we forget the content. Supposing the form of the bangle, the form and the name bangle, and mainly form and its design. When that becomes important, then what happens? I forget, I am not happy with the form of the bangle which I have. So I hate it. And that time my eyes are focused upon the bangle that my friend is wearing. Because that bangle looks very beautiful. In comparison to that bangle, my bangle looks dull. The design of my bangle is not eye-catching. And when I look at her bangle, I like it more. And so I don't like this. In short, I have likes and dislikes for the form. But is it important? What is it? It is gold. If your eyes are at that time, which in your eyes means your perception is focused upon gold, what does it matter? Sometimes, mother will, when the daughters are fighting about these ornaments, why you have this and why you, then the mother will say, what does it matter? I have given gold to both of you. Why are you fighting about this? Because in the mother's eye, in mother's perception, what is important is gold. I have given you, both of you, same amount. Same amount of ornaments are given to you. Why are you fighting about this? What is important is gold. But for daughters, what is important? Name and form. So they are diverted distracted from gold, from reality, and are preoccupied in the name and form. They are missing something. They are fighting for something which is not important. What is important is gold. Similarly, with that view, author says, Upekshya nama rupe dve. Life is not that simple. I come across different people in my life, in my own family, in people with whom I am closely related. They are all different. Somebody I like, somebody I don't like. Situations, some of the situations I cannot put up with. And then what happens? They remain in my mind. They become a big botheration. They become a pain in the neck because I cannot overlook them, because they are not according to my terms and conditions. And that is why I try to change them. I try to adjust with them. I try to put them aside. Regardless of what I do, they remain in my mind. The more I try to get away from them, the more it occupies my mind. Why he is like that? Why she is like that? We may not be that explicit. We may not express it in those words, but inside we keep on blaming. We keep on fighting. We keep on quarreling, finding faults with all this. With what? With what? With that which is not important, that which is temporary, with that which doesn't count, because it is nothing but Atma, the self appearing like that. It is self coming in that form. Ocean in the form of a wave, of one wave, another wave, third wave. Ocean comes in the form of different waves. Similarly, this Atma, this consciousness, this Asti Bhati Priyam in different forms. What does it matter what they are? So the author says, Upekshya nama rupe dve. May you ignore. Ignore means don't stop working with them. You can't do that. Talk with them, work with them, handle them, but in your mind it doesn't matter what they are. And be focused where? Focused upon the content, focused upon Asti Bhati Priya, which means it doesn't matter what this pen is, but is it or not? What is important here is isness, that it is, that it reveals itself, that it serves my purpose. Finished. Then it is fine. Doesn't matter how it looks like. But now what has become important is looks, name and form, the glamour. We all go by names and forms, how a person looks like. All these things have become important. What should not be important have become important. And in all that, what is the important aspect is ignored by us. So author says, ignore name and form and be focused upon only Satchidananda. Whereas our life is going on the other track. In fact, we are going in the opposite direction. When we should be focused upon the content, upon the reality, which is Brahman, which is Asti Bhati Priyam, I am focused upon what? Name and form. That changes every day. Today I like it, tomorrow I will not like it. That is where we are stagnating. That becomes a big obstacle. And in doing all that, I miss this, I miss this. What is missed is this. And if I spend my life in this only, then I will miss my life also. Time will be over. in going around and around names and forms, changing them, liking them, disliking them, hating them, fighting with them, acquiring, giving up. Life will go away in all that, and at the end of it, I will have nothing. That is why author says upeksha. May you ignore and catch what is important. You know, in olden days, they used to give us the example of a swan, which used to be in Manasarovar, in the lake which is found in Himalayas, in Kailash. This swan, you know, the peculiarity of this Rajahamsa was this, that it could separate milk from water. It could separate milk from water. So it would grasp milk and drink it and leave aside the water. So we have to become Paramahamsa. Paramahamsa means the one who always extracts the reality, gives up the names and forms. The Jagat part is given up, they ignore it, and they catch hold of the reality. This is what we have to do in life. And for that, Samadhim Sarvada Kuryat. May you always be absorbed in this. We will talk about this more next time, how to do this. If we know this, if we learn this, we have made our life. It doesn't matter what we have to do, where we are placed, with whom we are placed. Why? Because I know what is important. All this doesn't matter. Okay, we will talk about this more next time. Thank you. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanta Shanta Shantihi. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyoma Vadvyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanta Shanta Shantihi.